Between 35 and 8 years ago, the last game in Metal Gear series came out. Kojima has gone to his deadly journey as a deliveryman from Glovo, and everyone has long forgotten about this cool series of games. The last game was, in my opinion, the best part, called Metal Gear Survive. It was the best in demonstrating the lack of talent of most Konami staff after Kojima's departure. Far from being the only one, the number of such games is growing faster every year, but still it was quite revealing. But before you create your own Metal Gear without Kojima and Blackjack, Metal Gear without Kojima already existed, but with Whitejack. It was called, if you suddenly have vision problems and you didn't see what you poked, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. Yes, this is not a nude mod for the third Resident Evil, you opened the wrong video. So subscribe to our channel and let's go see if Platinum Games managed to get to the level of genius that was Prevent in all other parts of the series.
I'm impressed with your little toy.
Perhaps to start with the fact that this game was created by even more freaky agents than the main games of the series, and therefore from time to time I didn't understand at all what kind of gun was happening on the screen, but it was interesting and beautiful, which is typical of most Asian games. So it's going to be quite difficult to get to this. One might say anime thing, maybe some of the things that I can fault with may be a daily routine for a Japanese, such as Harakiri and Nagasaki, but still I'll take a sip of sake, embraces mixed up, and I'll go try to make out what this fucking agent's mind came up with the canonical part of the series. Don't be surprised if at the end of the video I'll start smacking someone's dick. From what I heard, this always happens after watching anime, so I am ready. So this anime starts with some African village in which 50 Cent, Ice Cube and Dr. Dre ride in their state-owned limousine with white boy, who forgot to cut off his stupid hair back in 2007. They ride among their minions and enjoy black skin locations outside on the way to the shooting of the same meme in which the same skin colors took part, when suddenly their journey was interrupted by a wacky skinned grandfather who did not like how blacks sit together in one car with excellent race. Samurai also do not kill their opponents on the sly like some kind of sissy, but fight with everyone face to face, which you will sometimes violate, so that you found not a very suitable allegory for your activity. Yes, I overacted a bit of Ghost of Kojima, leave me alone. Parallel to the creation of infinite number of memes, this man, along with fellow LGBT people, will begin to cut everything that will catch his eye, and all those heaps of military men with machine guns, of course, will never be able to hit him in the head, because that's how African soldiers were trained to shoot. Anything but white skin. These LGBT people block the road from the sides in order to be able to steal 50 Cent, who is the president of Africa. And despite the fact that Raiden is sitting next to him in the same car, whose abilities include wall running and fucking power, he won't even think of grabbing this president under his arm and running the fucking wall from this place. But I even slightly went too far from the account of Raiden's competence in his work, which he now has to do. Since while the black population, which is the protection of the president, is being quickly examined around, he will not even think about getting out the car and helping them in the battle. Only after they're dead does he somehow start to get his ass out of couch. Apparently he was afraid that African blood would get inside his body, from which he would have to spend the rest of his days with the venerologist. The jacket is not removed like that, and when he took it off, his physique somehow noticeably increased, as if, among other things, he also had the ability to pull up and deflate at the right time for him to look sexy in front of Japanese transgender people. Of course, you are all well done by blocking the road by president from the front, but it's okay that the direction where you left someone can also be, and now it will be harder for you to get to him with this collapse. And now we were finally allowed to feel the local gameplay, which in the same like Devil May Cry, with 2 buttons plugged in except for interesting feature. Of course, I'm talking about the possibility of holding the left trigger to cut absolutely everything in front of you, and it will be cut exactly in the place where you cut it, and each of these cut pieces will be have their own physics and will properly interact with each other and with everything else. I have not seen such mechanics before, I have not seen mechanics after that. It's so cool and unusual that it turns any adult man into the same idiot on YouTube who is endlessly interested in what happens if you cut your little brother's dick with a hot knife. And this cherry on the pie is complemented by musical component, the like of which I have not seen for quite a long time. The music here is just unrealistically crazy, diverse, pecking at all your tentacles, and as one Cockerel whispered to me, it is also synchronized with the battle itself, and depending on what is happening on the screen, it plays differently. But since the Asian monkey shit on my ears, I didn't notice all of this, but since it is, it also cool. The only thing I would like to say about these cuts is that they're rather inconvenient to change the angle of the sword with the right stick, and at the same moment press the square to strike. And also, as you can see, our main character works in heels, because walking in heels on the battlefield is just fucking convenient. I also heard a lot of people complaining that using the attack button to block was not very convenient. I have no idea what they're talking about, I just poke this square endlessly and he calmly defend himself when some kind of blow flew into him. There were no problems with this at all. But since someone said so, then I will take the word and put a scene. If Liu Kang, I mean Raiden, is so strong that he able to throw the Metal Gear with both hands, why then does he spend so much energy on small robots, if he could just, judging by the strength, just pick it up one hand and kick into the Kojima country house? How the hell could such a small sword cut through such a huge piece of robot? Cool guys don't look at explosions cliché. What is the point of the slide button under the objects, and this hint in general, if by holding the right trigger it does it on its own? The jump button in this case is just as pointless, but it is at least a little useful in other moments in the game. But it is only half useful, because in such cartoonish caricature game, the developer thought it would be too unrealistic if the main character could use a double jump, which was very likely in some boss fights. This test first drew my attention to the mouse cursor, which the fact even exists in the game, not even stylized at the game font. How do you stay inside this hole? But bitch, these Japanese are still cunts. It seems looks so fucking stupid, but anyway, look at it all and like, damn it, why do I have a boner? I thought about the next joke for quite a long time and could not think a better way to write it. Show was funny, but after slightly moving away from work, after watching one video that captured my attention for a whole minute, I got inspiration to finish this joke in a bitter end. So Raiden, I ask for your attention.
Jonah, I'm here. Just a little stuck.
Mind if I got in?
Threesome?
Excuse me?
Not with me. With me?
As a result, the pumped-out cosplayer of the crisis stopped the president, whom he didn't understand why he dragged him on this train if he could have stopped him in the same way at the very beginning. In the battle with Sam, I just need to die, and at first my health somehow decreased and went to the bitter end. But I watched this fucking 0.1% for who knows how long, which did not decrease even if I had directly in the belly with the knife poke. In the end, all the same won. Cut off Raiden's hand, thank God not the right one, you won't have to look at girl instead, and even after a severed hand, he still has this 0.1%, and again we were forced to pointedly swing the sword, despite the fact that outcome is already obvious, and this bastard drags for so long that I would have already used the mechanics of Harakiri if it were here.
Lucky devil.
His luck has nothing to do with it. It's more about your stupidity, having so much time at Jack open to attack, not to cut him to the end, knowing that in this world you live in, this Raiden will quickly fasten a new arm and he will able to continue to pursue you.
Down you go! Flares!
Yes, a military helicopter has a thing that protects it from home missiles. It's not typical of military equipment at all, right? And what's the problem with using a rocket launcher from old Metal Gears, where you could control this rocket with a gamepad, which these flares could not interfere with? At the end of each mission, we are shown our statistics, in which you can see the time it takes to complete the mission, which, judging by the footage, is twice as long as the written here. Yes, I'm going through the game in easy mode, because after looking at this game a couple of reviews, I realized that fuck these Asian games with their impenetrable bosses in the mouth. In the next scene, we were shown a repeated Raiden, who for some reason, apart from his hand, also decided to change his jaw, which has not been normal state before, and now in Cunnilingus cannot be done anyone without being of the clitoris at the same time.
But our more immediate problem is Jetstream Sam. I believe you've met.
The only problem I see is that nickname.
Said the man with the name Mr. Lightning. If during dynamic battles everything looks cool, beautiful and juicy, then during calm moments, grey empty square locations begin to catch your eye, the quality of which was sacrifice of number of moving hairs of Raiden's head. Why did he stand unseen in the air? And why did he turn off his invisibility before the battle? During the battle with opponents, a slow-mo moment will sometimes appear with some kind of African hieroglyph, the meaning of which I did not understand for probably half of the game. As a result, it turned out that at this time it was necessary to cut down the opponents and take the HP from them. Why not write a hint of the button, as was done for the same hit and other moments? And also in these quiet moments, quite often we will be stopped to listen to another dialogues with one of colleagues, of whom there are so many, and they slow down the dynamic piece of the game so much that sometimes I just miss them because they fucked up. But what slows down the dynamic piece even more is the stealth. Yes, you heard it right. Stealth in a fucking slasher, which is, in my opinion, the worst combination of beer and vodka. Of course you won't puke, but it's quite possible to fall asleep. And what does the stealth genius fuck? Opponents are standing with their backs on you, they don't fucking hear you, they don't fucking hear how you run loudly behind them, because you can crouch, and they don't hear how you slaughter their colleagues quite loudly right next to you with them. Thanks to Kojima for deciding to put these 2 cents into the game, very useful a fucking slasher. This time you need to go through the stealth, because as soon as they notice me, they will kill the hostages, which thank god does not fail the mission, and there is no difference at all. Maybe a little more points will be have given to me if the hostage had survived, but the stealth is such dependency, and for slashing of opponents I will get more points, that there's no point in saving this poor fellow at all. What will empty air kill the hostage, based on the fact that only living dude at the location was busy fighting me. And in the stealth, in order to quickly kill the enemy, you need to get so close to him that anytime you get to the right position, he will already notice you. Another obsolete feature of the old games is the closure of locations, from which you can only exit when you defeat all opponents. And even after I defeat all opponents, I still need to wait a couple more seconds until this wall disappears. Inside these boxes I will unlock training mission for myself, which I will come across until the very end of the game, because at the end of the game, fucking how important to complete the tutorial. The fact that you cut the box is fine, but it still had to hit you.
I am IF Prototype LQ84I.
IF Prototype.
Interface Prototype. All autonomous UGs feature high-level onboard artificial intelligence. An additional prototype interface enables verbal communication.
You don't say. Okay then, what's the meaning of life? Why are we here?
Abbreviated ChatGPT.
I am here to kill you.
How could this knife get stuck in such a big hole? After this explosion, which incarnated this robot so much that not even a speck of dust was left on it, it will somehow be able to be reborn in original form. Boss helicopter in 2013 game.
Some kind of electronic lock on the gate.
Most likely it opens only if you have the right ID data stored in your left hand.
And his blade suddenly ceased to be ultimate device for open and close obstacles. The fact that he recently threw a Metal Gear-sized skyscraper was able to cut it with this sword is nothing. This gate is his real kryptonite for
Right,
him.
you missed them all? Well, you just have to fight your way through.
Why couldn't you do it at first? You motherfucker, what are you doing? She is many miles away from you. Are you fucking defending yourself?
We intercepted call for backup during your last fight. The caller's position is on your Soliton radar. You can engage if you wish.
It was just that we were offered to go through the opinion side quest, on which I countered only a couple of pieces of the game, and which are an additional slasher without any narrative load. Purely to masturbate yourself more points, to pump a little more, no more. Also, the cut pieces of the fence look cool when noticed, their physics influate at times. Just like those 3-armed falloimitators are annoying, constantly grabbing you, because of which you need to constantly teleport with this poke of stick to break out this imprisonment. Also, Kojima did not create the appearance of the characters, his bouncy butt boob vision still carried over this game. In modern games, this not often seen. How the second piece of her body keeps balance while standing on the leg one heel. Why everyone in this game uses heels? It's not convenient.
I lost. So this is how they felt.
What?
Dying.
I wonder how comfortable it is to talk when your mouth and brain are cut in half. After the victory on this woman who does not cook borscht, we have the opportunity to customize our suit and upgrade ourselves to the weapon. And this upgrades is done in principle quite well and varied. Unlike Kojima, here developers decided to make all cutscenes pre-rendered. In the next mission, Raiden decided to plagiarize Big Boss a little, dressing up in a rather ridiculous disguise. It's not clear of course why he needs this disguise, if he takes it off in a second, but still dressed up in this disguise he went in the sewer, in which the word shit can be used to characterize not only the content of this place, and not only the brown like in Most Wanted Florist, but this place itself at all. In it, all this insane dynamics of the game has evaporated somewhere. You often need to hide, quietly make your way, swear a broken stem and, in parallel, watch a brown location consisting of shit and urine. I don't know if there are memes in this world in which this man would be used, but I can't help myself, and until I go at least somewhere in this man, I won't calm down. Oh, it's better. I ask for your attention a reference so cringe that it was cringe 30 years ago in the original source. How legal it is to reference Vanilla Ice in 2023.
Go ninja, go ninja, go! Go ninja, go ninja, go! Go ninja, go ninja, go! Go, go, go!
Stop it. Get some help.
The voice of this guy, by the way,
We're Guyanese, from Guyana. You speak English?
it sounds like it was voiced by adult men trying to parody an Asian accent, and then on editing this voice in addition they simply raised this tone.
Then this good need dressed like the mafia say.
And in all this cacophony of the acting attempts, it is quite often not realistic to understand what is he saying there.
George, I need every...
It was such a sudden change of emotions that George seemed to even grabbed one pants surprise. Also at some moments you can beat the Deacon stealth and start a battle in open. At times opponents stupidly start sprawling endlessly and you can do it without stealth.
But first you need to take a dump.
Wait, what?
A dump? A digital optical output mounted proxy. You'll need one to interface with the terminal.
In order to press the button to open the door, you need to stand in a certain position, which is not always very convenient.
Raiden, if they continue to increase security, they may shut out all outside network connections. Please do your best to avoid being seen.
Even shit jokes from Asians sound like something smart. I still won't try to be out of sight, but no problem with I can see the internet connection. It wouldn't be possible to put a scene for this, but on the contrary, I'll take off the scene for the fact that the developers are trying with all their might to minimize the amount of senseless stealth with all their might. Why do our opponents hate these 3-armed robots so much that every time they pass by them, they start kicking them without hesitation? The joke about how the robot could not insert the USB the first time with the right side, it's quite funny and vital. The main villain stands with the back to everyone, only so that we not see the face of main villain ahead of time. Also, what is so secret in this face that it was impossible to immediately show it, it did not understand. Fun fact, judging by the official lore written on Wikipedia, this tank was created not just in Ukraine, but right in the Dnipro, somewhere near me. After I received this information, I somehow even regretted that I didn't go to the factory to collect Metal Gear after my studies. Raiden cut this doctor together with the child, also he could easily avoid it. His head was sticking out not covered by kit, and you could easily cut it just on it, and the little one would have remained alive. Yes, they will make it later, but it doesn't matter. I'm just wondering how Raiden in this huge and massive armor could fit behind the wheels of a car and also manage to somehow manage this. In a game where you can brutally cut opponents into small pieces, in a game where a lot of blood flowed from the several pieces of body, in a game full of swearing, the developers could not afford to show a middle finger in the camera.
183104.7, threatening a peace officer. Deadly force is authorized.
That's why you change your firearms for clubs.
Roof. Traveling atop buildings will minimize enemy encounters.
Nice hiding spot. Wonder where he learned that from.
This would be a mega funny reference in case these boxes did not exist in this game. You press the button to close the elevator. It will not go anywhere, but no, it went. It guessed by himself which floor we needed. If you get too bored during the game, you can open your codec at any time and listen to quite large and sometimes interesting dialogues with your colleagues. Here I just need to take a jump from this crane to the next building, but for some reason Raiden constantly stops in flight right before the start of that building and falls down. And what's more, I didn't succeed on jumping into the run, but just by jumping without running up, I managed to fly. How does it work?
Enemy ahead, Raiden! Avoid fighting if you can.
I wonder if they ever get tired of telling me to avoid encounters in the game where there's nothing else to do other than those battles. If you kill an enemy without cutting him to pieces, he will eventually explode. After cutting these dudes, Raiden was attacked by a depression so strong that he even forgot how to run. And therefore, until the next boss, you need to slow step to the next boss, also try not to catch the eye because he also forgot how to fight. Never seen and probably never will see a more epic supervillain landing. The battle with him basically as always is cool and fun, only infuriated the moments when he started jumping on me from the bottom, which I could not dodge, and when began to dodge all my blows, and it begins to seem to me that I was a fool and could not figure out how to bring him down. A meme is born.
Memes. The DNA of the soul.
By the way, about memes, why not listen a monologue about this? How the hell did he manage to survive this, and why in the gameplay he perceived such cuts so much painfully? I still don't understand. And why the enemies during the dialogue with the doctor decided to just stand and look at me instead of cutting me to the end?
Kill. Or be killed.
You are already dead. A piece of your head is lying in front of me. How do you talk?
The elevators appear to be disabled, which we should have expected, I suppose.
Why does Raiden need elevators if he can run up walls? What will he eventually do? Why waste time on the elevators? Turret section with the infinite ammo cliché.
We can play up here without damaging the merchandise. What happens in 3 hours? Don't matter.
In those moments when the camera is somewhere far away, it is quite problematic to understand who is talking when, considering that Raiden at the sound down, it feels like it's voiced by the same actor. When he defends himself with the exploding shield, I need to carefully cut him so as not explode myself. And even though it's much more convenient to do with stick than the mouse anyway, in the half of the cases, it cuts a little along the wrong trajectory and I receive damage from explosion. Judging by the length of this fight, the last floor on the skyscraper should have a pretty view on the moon, touching the roof on the building in the windows.
Attaboy. Check.
This is what this porridge is talking about now. I'm looking at this and I can't understand it at all. Why is everyone so furiously about the Fast and Furious while admiring similar animes in parallel? When in fact it is the same thing, only with the presence of hair in one and the absence of other.
I am sorry, my friend. Your sacrifice will not be forgotten.
He fell long distances without parachute before. What exactly now do you think that he would die from this? The game lasts about 7 hours, and in that short amount of time it managed to use the same location twice, just reversed. This Sam seems like a cool paphos dude, but this stand of his in costumes activates an associative series in me, which subconsciously makes me advise him to remove fatty hamburgers from his diet. The very same battle with him, it seems to be cool. Like everyone else, that just the location on which in this happened is pretty dull. Just a desert with a couple of rocks and a tumbleweed.
ID locked.
I won't be able to use Sam's sword because he has some kind of blockage there, which apparently a sharp sword makes a blunt of Raiden can use it. Or the fuck know how to explain it, but it's a sword. A sharp sword. Why can't Raiden use it? This scene was supposed to be pathetic and sad, but why did Raiden sit in a cozy cold? You need to take a shit urgently, but there is no toilet nearby.
Raiden, we have less than 1 hour. Hurry! Roger that.
And Raiden ran, forgetting that there was a motorcycle that could motivate a little faster. I had a very long and exhausting dialogue with my colleagues, and after many hours of thinking and various opinions for resolving this issue, we still came to the plausible assumption that an 11-year-old girl cannot have such boobs. 11-year-old girls, please PM me in the persuasion. Oh, what bad thought came into my head from this laughter. The Japanese are fucking sick.
Raiden, there is no time to worry about the soldiers. Get to the control tower.
I'm very glad that I don't have time to fight the soldiers, but as if until I kill them all, they won't let me to go any further. And killing them by stealth or just trying to get around it is even longer than quietly cutting everyone, so I can't have no choice here. Just like in a new Jedi, I can't interrupt the strong attack animation with the dodge button, and therefore if some kind of blow flies in me, I can do anything by take it on myself. So the final boss fight began, which even on low difficulty manages to turn out to be simple. And thank god I did not play on medium difficulty, otherwise the situation with the fire on the ass in the final of the Jedi would have been replaced in double volume. Otherwise the boss fight is very cool, long, epic, divided into 3 different and awesome phases, of course with cool music in the background, in parallel diluted at this of course with just an infinite number of memes.
Don't fuck with this, Senator! I'll rid this world of pointless wars, Jack. Nanomachine, son! Where power and justice are back where they belong. In the hands of the people!
You are now talking about the fact that you need to give the power into the hands of the people for whom they write on the washer that it cannot be dropped.
In my new America, people will die and kill for what they believe. Not for money, not for oil, not for what they're told is right. Every man will be free to fight his own war!
You are now talking about people who forbade specifying the sex of the child of birth because he must choose it for himself. And I'm not just talking about America. In any country in the ranks of ordinary people, there are plenty of fuckers who decide to arrange a war purely for fun, because they like to watch how it burns. You just imagine those ugly feminists, vegans, and advocates of kind of minorities. What the fucked up world it would be if they're allowed to fight for their ideals. On purpose or not on purpose, but the reference to the musical theme of the Terminator is fucking awesome.
So, what do you think?
How the hell did you get elected?
Raiden obviously did not live in 2017, then he would not be surprised by this. Our doc intervened between the fight, pausing it, and started Sam's recording on his sword that Raiden can now use it. And the senator just stood there and listened to this recording with all of us. And why is Sam's sword so strong that, unlike mine, it could cause significant damage to the senator? At the same time, when Sam hit me with it, it did not do much damage. Killing bosses are the kind of things I rather be banned by law. At the end, after the credits, we were hit in a continuation, which did not happen due to the low popularity of the game. But now, thanks to memes, the second game will still happen. But until this happens, subscribe to the channel, so as not to miss the video, like, repost and comment this.